Hi, I'm Lauren Hester, and this is my biology assignment for week 11. This is a bird. It's pretty common, I'm sure you've heard of it. This is a dog. It is also very common, people use them as pets. Well, this bird has a secret. It wants to be able to bark like a dog, which is going to be kind of difficult for it to do, seeing as it isn't a dog, it's a bird. Well, he is in luck, because I'm going to be showing you how I will be moving a gene from the dog that allows it to bark into the bird. Let's begin, shall we? The first thing we need to do is take a strand of DNA from the dog. Then we will need someone to cut the DNA to get the right spot we need. For this, we're going to need our friend, the restrictive enzyme, EcoR1. EcoR1 will then cut the DNA so that we have the gene that allows the dog to bark, the highlighted part, to be separate from the rest of it so we can put it in the bird. Then we will need to take a plasmid from the bacteria of the bird. A plasmid is basically just a circular shape that will hold the DNA. But wait, how are we going to get the dog's DNA in there if it's all closed up? Well, remember, we still have our friend EcoR1, who would be more than happy to help cut up this plasmid where we need it to be. Well, now that EcoR1 has cut a hole in the plasmid, this is the perfect time to add the dog's DNA. In order to do this, we're going to need some glue. Not literal glue, but DNA ligase acts as the glue to keep the DNA from the dog in the plasmid. So, when we add everything together, DNA ligase, a plasmid, and the part of DNA that we need from the dog, we get a plasmid with a little piece of dog DNA on it. And that is our winner. Except, there's actually a few more plasmids that got some of the background DNA from the dog, the ones that we didn't need, and some of them just closed up entirely. And since all of these plasmids are mixed up together, we need to use a process called gel electrophoresis in order to separate out the plasmids that we want from the ones we don't need. And ta-da! Once the process of gel electrophoresis is over, we are able to identify which plasmids we want, and we can then start cloning it. In order for us to clone the DNA that we want, we have to start polymerase chain reaction, or PCR for short. In order to do that, we need 3 more ingredients: nucleotides, primers, and Taq polymerase. We will then shove these 3 ingredients, as well as a sample of the DNA from the plasmid, into a test tube with a solution that has a specific pH. This test tube is put into a machine called a thermal cycler. The first thing the thermal cycler will do is heat up a lot. What this does is separate out the DNA. Then the thermal cycler will cool down, and the DNA primers that we put in the test tube will come to the rescue and fill in the spots for both of the DNA strands. This creates 2 separate but identical DNA strands. And finally, this DNA is inserted back into the bird. Now, the animal recipient can bark just like a dog. All of his dreams are coming true. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.